is not political power. It is not social pressure. It is not loud campaigns or marketing tricks. No, it is something far more powerful. It is truth in motion, peace in action, and discipline lived out. My friends, we are witnessing a shift. In the middle of the noise, chaos, and endless distractions of modern life, people are pausing and asking deep questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What is the purpose of my life? And while many institutions offer noise, Islam offers stillness. While society offers temporary pleasure, Islam offers permanent peace. While the world preaches self-centeredness, Islam teaches submission to something greater than self, submission to God. This is not about changing cultures. This is not about changing flags. This is about changing hearts. A businessman in London, a student in New York, a nurse in Berlin, they're finding something in Islam that they couldn't find in wealth, fame, or even traditional religion. Clarity, simplicity, stability. 5 prayers a day, it gives rhythm to a chaotic life. Fasting in Ramadan, it teaches discipline when indulgence surrounds us. Charity, it brings purpose to wealth. Modesty, it restores dignity in a world that forgot its value. Brotherhood, it unites beyond race, language, or class. People are not running to Islam because it's easy. They are drawn to it because it is real, because it demands commitment, because it speaks to the soul. And you know what's most powerful? Islam doesn't knock on doors, it opens hearts. The West, in its search for peace, is beginning to listen. And what they hear is the heartbeat of Islam. Yes, my friends, that heartbeat is growing louder, not with force, but with faith. Not with anger, but with understanding. Not with division, but with divine truth. And that is what is making Islam not just present in the West, but the heartbeat of the West. Would you like a shorter version for a YouTube short or reel too? People in the West are not just seeking religion. They are seeking meaning, discipline, and peace that modern life has failed to offer. Islam is filling that void. We live in an age where material comfort has reached unimaginable levels. The average person in the West today has access to better technology, healthcare, education, and personal freedom than any generation before. Yet with all these advancements, something critical is missing. People are surrounded by noise, yet they feel unheard. They are connected to the world, yet they feel alone. They have more choices than ever before, but fewer answers to life's most essential questions. What is success? Why am I unhappy despite having everything? What happens after I die? These are not the kinds of questions that can be answered by science, technology, or wealth. These are spiritual questions. And when the heart is empty, no luxury can fill it. This is where the silent rise of Islam in the West begins, not with conquest, not with politics, but with the cry of the human heart looking for peace. People are tired of being confused. They are tired of being sold dreams that never satisfy. They are tired of chasing happiness in things that only bring emptiness. And in that tiredness, in that spiritual exhaustion, many are turning to Islam, not because they were forced, but because they were searching. And in that search, they found something that stunned them with its clarity and beauty. Islam is not offering people a new trend, it's offering an ancient path. A path rooted in purpose, discipline, and submission to the Creator. And this message resonates with the soul in a way that nothing else does. In a world of constant change, Islam offers stability. In a world of moral confusion, Islam offers clear guidance. In a world full of distractions, Islam calls for reflection. It doesn't just answer questions, it transforms the way people live, think, and behave. And for many in the West, that transformation is exactly what they were looking for. Look at the people embracing Islam today. They are not weak or uninformed. They include doctors, engineers, academics, artists, and thinkers. These are not people running from knowledge. They are people running towards truth. Many of them read the Quran with an open mind, study the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and realize that Islam is not a foreign culture or a strange ideology. It is a complete way of life. It is harmony between faith and reason. It is the balance of worship and action. It is a system that dignifies human life, regulates desires, and uplifts communities. And one of the most powerful things about this rise is that it's happening organically. There are no billboards, no forced conversions, no armies. Just individuals talking, listening, learning. One person finds peace in prayer and shares it with a friend. Another finds discipline in fasting and shares it with a colleague. Slowly, quietly, hearts begin to change, minds begin to open, lives begin to shift. What makes Islam stand out is its holistic nature. It doesn't ask people to just believe. It teaches them how to live, how to sleep, how to eat, how to treat others, how to deal with money, how to handle pain, and how to find peace. It turns everyday actions into acts of worship. It makes the mundane sacred. It reminds people that they are always in the presence of God and that every moment is an opportunity to grow closer to Him. In a world that separates the spiritual from the practical, Islam unites them beautifully. This is what the modern Western soul is thirsty for. Not just rituals or traditions, but a framework that brings everything into harmony. A way of life that makes sense, not just in the mosque, but in the kitchen, in the office, in the heart. And as more people experience that harmony, they realize this is not just religion, it's reality. Islam becomes not a label, but a lifestyle. That is why today, Islam is not just surviving in the West, it is thriving quietly, consistently, one heart at a time. Let me know if you'd like this turned into a narration script or formatted for subtitles as well. The growth of Islam in the West is not through force or fear, but through silent transformation, through hearts touched, lives changed, and souls awakened. This quiet revolution is unfolding not on television screens or political stages, but deep within individuals who are on a personal journey toward truth and peace. In a society where people are constantly told that happiness lies in freedom without limits, in chasing success, and in satisfying every desire, many are beginning to question that narrative. They are looking around and seeing the consequences: loneliness, broken families, addiction, anxiety, and spiritual emptiness. The promises of modern life have failed to deliver lasting contentment. And that failure has opened a door to exploration, reflection, and rediscovery. Islam is entering through that door not with noise, but with meaning. It is not being imposed, it is being discovered. A man sitting quietly in his room reads a verse from the Quran that stirs something in his heart. A woman watching a Muslim colleague pray during lunch finds herself curious about the peace on his face. A student researching religions for a philosophy class finds herself drawn not to myths and metaphors, but to something concrete and complete. These are not dramatic conversions, but gentle awakenings. They begin with questions and end with conviction. This transformation is not the result of persuasion through fear or pressure. It is not driven by mass campaigns or grand speeches. It happens one-on-one, soul to soul. People see Islam not just in books, but in actions. How Muslims treat their families, their elders, the poor, and even their enemies. They see a code of life that brings dignity, order, and balance. In a world overwhelmed by excess, Islam speaks of moderation. In a culture obsessed with self-expression, Islam teaches self-control. In a time where faith is often mocked or watered down, Islam stands firm with unshakable clarity. And it is exactly that clarity that is pulling hearts, the idea that there is one God, a clear purpose to life, and a straight path to follow. That brings comfort to those who are lost in confusion. The discipline of prayer, fasting, and charity appeals to those seeking a deeper structure to their existence. The sense of unity among Muslims, regardless of race or background, attracts those tired of division and discrimination. Islam doesn't change to suit desires. It changes desires to suit truth. And that transformation is powerful. The Western individual, despite all external success, is often facing internal crisis. Depression, suicide, and addiction rates are climbing, not because people lack wealth, but because they lack meaning. In that vacuum, Islam steps in, not with slogans, but with substance. It invites the human being to know their Creator, to live for something higher, to surrender, not in weakness, but in strength. That invitation resonates with those who are sincere in their search. What makes this all the more remarkable is that it's happening in a time when Islam is often misunderstood or misrepresented. Despite negative media coverage and widespread stereotypes, people are still coming to Islam. In fact, many say it was the negative portrayal that made them curious. They asked, why is this religion always in the spotlight? And when they investigated for themselves, they found something entirely different from what they were told. They found peace. They found answers. They found God. This silent transformation is reshaping the spiritual landscape of the West. Mosques are filling, especially with new faces. People who once never imagined themselves as religious are now reciting verses from the Quran, fasting in Ramadan, and waking before dawn to pray. These are not acts of obligation, but of love. Not fear-driven, but faith-driven. This is how Islam is growing, not by force, not by majority, but by the quiet power of truth, reaching the heart. And when the heart is touched, the change is not temporary, it is lifelong. People in the West are not just seeking religion, they are seeking meaning, discipline, and peace that modern life has failed to offer. Islam is filling that void. In a world saturated with distractions, entertainment, and endless information, people are overwhelmed but undernourished spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. They scroll through their phones for hours, go from one job to another, chase promotions, relationships, and material goals, but still feel an emptiness that success cannot satisfy. That's because the soul needs more than pleasure. It needs purpose, and that is what Islam provides with clarity, depth, and consistency. For decades, many in the West believed that progress and prosperity would bring happiness. They believed that science alone could answer life's questions and that individual freedom was the ultimate goal. But slowly that belief is crumbling. People are beginning to realize that unlimited freedom without moral boundaries leads not to fulfillment, but to confusion. A culture that promotes self above everything else ends up isolating people. Families are breaking down, relationships are becoming transactional, anxiety and depression are rising. In this vacuum, many are looking for something real, something stable, something that speaks to both the mind and the heart. And when they encounter Islam, often unexpectedly, they find a way of life that addresses their deepest needs. Not just the outer life, but the inner self. Islam doesn't just say believe, it shows how to live. It gives daily structure through prayer, yearly discipline through fasting, social connection through charity, and inner peace through remembrance of God. It turns life's routine into something sacred. Even the act of eating, sleeping, speaking, and walking are guided by principles that give life rhythm and meaning. In a world where people are left to figure out everything on their own, Islam says, here is the path. Walk it with intention and you will find peace. That message is incredibly powerful for someone who has been drowning in a sea of choices yet starving for direction. The appeal of Islam is also rooted in its simplicity. It teaches that there is only one God who is merciful, just, and close to his creation. There is no complicated theology, no human intermediary, no confusion between the Creator and the created. Islam teaches that every human is born pure, with the potential to live a noble and meaningful life by following divine guidance. This resonates with people who are tired of guilt-based religion or traditions that feel disconnected from reality. They find in Islam a religion that is both ancient and practical, deeply spiritual yet grounded in everyday life. One of the most surprising things for many Westerners who study Islam is how intellectually satisfying it is. The Quran invites questioning, reflection, and thinking. It doesn't shy away from tough questions. It addresses them head on. It provides a moral framework that is consistent and timeless. It speaks about justice, mercy, human nature, history, and the future, all while directing the reader back to the oneness of God and the purpose of life. This balance of faith and reason, heart and mind, attracts thoughtful people who are searching for more than rituals. They are looking for truth. Islam also emphasizes community and family, two things that are eroding rapidly in Western societies. Many converts speak about how they felt alone before Islam, even if they had friends or family. After accepting Islam, they enter a global community that greets them as a brother or sister, offers them support, and treats them as part of a spiritual family. This feeling of belonging is healing for those who have been isolated, judged, or dismissed by society. Islam brings people together not based on race, wealth, or status, but on shared belief and purpose. Ultimately, people in the West are not running toward Islam because of external pressure. They are drawn by internal longing, a longing for stability in a world of chaos, for direction in a life of distractions, and for truth in a time of confusion. Islam offers what the heart is silently crying for: peace through submission to the Creator. And that is why, despite all odds, despite stereotypes and misinformation, Islam continues to grow, not through noise, but through meaning, not through fear, but through fulfillment, not through force, but through faith,